one of the hallmarks of like the newer Star Treks, I guess it goes back to the original series, is these like trial episodes. They love to like put the characters on trial and then pit other characters against the characters. It started. The one I really remember is Data on trial, whether he's a real life form or not, and then Riker had to take the stance that he's not a life form and actually argue against it, which he didn't want to do. And this is kind of what we get in this episode here, but with Dax. And so they try to play off this like trill thing where what do you got? You got your past lives and whatnot, and Dax wants to remain silent to protect somebody's honor. Kind of, it's kind of this one didn't work as well as the Data episode, which was a very interesting concept on is this a real life form or not? Because it was a little forced. And we'll get into this in just a moment, so please hit the like and subscribe button as we talk about all things Star Trek on our channel here, my friends. And I am a science fiction writer myself. If you like Star Trek, I am writing a trilogy that's going to be a beautiful space exploration. I want you to sign up for my newsletter. It's in the description below. And this way you stay in touch with me if anything ever happens and you get 3 free books just for doing so. So if you're a reader, if you love science fiction, this is a wonderful spot to be. I am bringing back the ethos of this 90s Star Trek with my work, and I'm so proud to bring it to you and so glad you're here. Thank you for signing up, and thank you for being here. All right, let's get into this episode. Like I said, it was a little forced. So the high concept of this is Dax is on trial for murder from her past host, Curzon, who was her last host, who was on this planet at some point, and there's some weird circumstantial evidence that puts him in place in there to begin with. And this is years and years later, right? And so one, immediately under Federation and all that law, circumstantial evidence. So circumstantial evidence is never going to bring about a murder. It's over. Episode's over already. Dax will not testify on behalf of herself or on behalf of Curzon or whatever, which is the forced element of this, because you need that. If Dax actually opened her mouth to Sisko, and if Curzon was really, really good friends with Sisko, and they'd probably talk in private. It was kind of an out-of-character sort of situation here on this level. Now, DC Fontana wrote this, original Star Trek person, and there's some good moments in this, but it is a lot of forced drama where it's like, is Dax actually the one who did it? And the other problem that we have with this in this episode at the time is we're just 2 episodes past where they did one where, is Odo the guy who murdered this person? And so you're taking your main characters over and over and accusing them of things when you really haven't established them well enough as like the heroes. Then that kind of needs to be done before you get into stuff like that. And so I guess we're getting to know the characters, and that's what makes it a thing at this point. But this ended up being a weaker episode on this front. Now, what it did do pretty well is it established all this cool stuff about the Trill. Is a Trill now the same person as it was then? Julian Bashir actually establishes that the brain waves are different, the brain pattern's different. So it literally is a different person, and that kind of plays into things later on. It always gets kind of funky with the whole Trill stuff and how that works. They try to use this as an allegory for certain identity politics things later, but it doesn't work that way because it is a very alien sort of concept. That's what makes the Trill thing interesting and actually well written from back in the Deep Space Nine time, which is different from the way that they write it today. On the other front, we've got, of course, a different sort of deal as Kira's trying to investigate some things that are going on as well, and they're going into that, and so that's not quite going as well as fun as it used to be either. This was kind of a slow episode all the way around, and because of the forced elements of it, it doesn't work very well when it comes out with the big reveal, which is that Curzon was just hooking up with the lady who he's accused of murdering the man, and she's the one who actually did it. Later on, which of course the son is the one who's prosecuting all this, and so again, this is people just refusing to talk and refusing to be the actual characters and taking them out of situations and taking them out of context intentionally to try to force the plot, and that's why it kind of just did not feel right. So overall, this is again, I think, a kind of weaker episode of Deep Space Nine, and did do a bit for the Dax characters. So you learn about Curzon and Jadzia for the first time, and that's the positive of it, really, and builds a little bit of a relationship between Sisko and Dax, which is kind of nice too. It's not all bad, but it is, again, just on the weak side. So I'll call this a 6 out of 10, and of course, that's my review for the episode. Let me know what you think in the description below. Please join my newsletter, guys, and get in on this so that you can sign up and get some great Star Trek-like material. You're going to love my science fiction. I appreciate you for being here. We'll be back soon.